Richard Smith is the Vegetable Crops and Weed Science Farm Advisor from Monterey, Santa Cruz, and San Benito counties. He's an MS in Agronomy from UC Davis. He's worked with the University of California Cooperative Extension since 1985 as a vegetable crop farm advisor. His research and education program includes working with production issues of cool season vegetables such as lettuce, spinach, the cole crops, celery, and other leafy greens. His research involves plant nutrient, soil fertility issues, and weed control strategies in vegetables. He works closely with growers and conducts educational activities, there's a theme here, programs via blogs, newsletters, web postings, and grower meetings. That's pretty cool, you got a blog on there. All right. So let's welcome Richard Smith.
Thank you. I also am happy to see the young folks in here because who are the future of agriculture, and we're really happy to have you participate in this. And one of the things when Steve asked us to participate in this panel, quite honestly, I'm more of a data presenting type of person. I don't really prognosticate very much. But I, you know, in thinking about this, I thought, well, maybe one way to kind of think about the future is also to think a little bit about the past. So I thought I'd just tell you a little bit about some changes in the Salinas Valley. Back in 1950, we go back over 60 years, we had about 60,000 acres of lettuce in the Salinas Valley. It was worth about $25 million. We had actually more acres of small grains, so things like wheat, barley were there. We had significant acres of dry beans, actually not just for seed, but for actual food. And also, one other very important crop in this valley. I want to see if you guys can figure out what it is. The town of Spreckles is there because of this crop. Sugar beets. Somebody said I heard it. Yeah, sugar beets. We had quite a number of acres of sugar beets in this valley. And dairy was listed on that Ag Commissioner's report. And there were 500 acres of strawberries back in 1950. So move forward, 1960. Actually, the acreage of lettuce dropped. There was about 50,000 acres. It was still worth about $26 million. No change in the small grain acreage. It kind of stayed stable during that decade. But the dairy started to see the decline in the dairy industry. And so as you drive around this valley, you see a lot of those old barns out there. That was our dairy industry. And it started declining about 1960. But one of the crops that really took a jump in that decade was strawberries. It jumped by sevenfold. So if we just fast forward to 1980, again we had about 60,000 acres of lettuce, but it was worth $157 million. So its value had gone up. Probably the yields had gone up. And but by the 1980s, there was very significant decline in small grain acreage. And so, why am I talking about the small grains? That's your agronomic crops. That's your barley and your wheat, you know, that you make your bread. Of course, barley is used for also making beer. The thing that did happen in the 1980 Ag Commissioner's report, you see, is that there was a significance now of wine grapes. So the wine grape industry started to become very significant. And the sugar beets were on the way out by the 1980s. So you come to today, we have like 150,000 acres of lettuce. It's worth over $2 billion. Romaine now is the #1 lettuce, not head lettuce anymore. Strawberries, by the way, is vying for the #1 crop. A couple of years ago, it was the #1 crop, but it's outstripping romaine lettuce by just a few $1,000s. So lettuce is still the #1 crop. But what we see is just an increase in intensification of high-value crops in this valley. And so my predecessor, the fellow that I took over my job, his name is Harry Agamelian. He used to do a lot of work on dry beans. He used to do a lot of work on alfalfa. We used to grow quite a bit of alfalfa. And so what we see is that over these years, there's been a change in the agriculture, the kinds of crops that we grow, and the way that we're growing them has changed. And that kind of gives us a little bit of an inkling into the future, because things, it seems like in this valley, haven't really stayed static for very long. They've been constantly changing. And so if we start to think about the future of ag in the Salinas Valley, one of the things you're going to see is the future is already here. It's out in the yard out there. And I encourage you young people, if you haven't already done it, go visit those automated thinning machines that are out there. There's 2 companies that have their machines out there. These are very, very significant developments in this valley. In 2013, those machines made their first inroads in this valley. And what does that bring to this valley? It brings a more high-tech job, because somebody has to know how to drive that thing, and somebody has to know how to service it, and that means a more high-paying job, perhaps more satisfying job in terms of intellectual stimulation. So the other thing that happened in 2013, and this is kind of a revolution that's happening in the Salinas Valley that nobody really kind of realizes. Not only was there automated thinners making their first inroads, there was automated harvesting that started. And so this would be for lettuce, for bulk lettuce. And so we're starting to see, I think, a trend. And so what we have is we have a high-tech industry putting some resources into the farming industry. And it's really, I think, very exciting. I think the sky's the limit, really, where this technology can take us and where it can go. One of the things, as I mentioned, is that I think it's exciting for the young people, because I think it provides opportunities for more interesting and higher paying work in the agricultural sector, because the agricultural sector, I think by a lot of people, they look at it and they go, ooh, I don't know about that. But I think these opportunities are going to be increasing. The other thing, though, that is occurring in the ag industry that is a very significant change for the future is in the area of regulation. And we've had pretty significant regulation in the area of pesticides for a number of years, and there's a whole industry out there of pest control advisors. They work very closely with the growers in helping the growers to make really good decisions in terms of pest management. What's happening this year, in 2014, is the first year that the growers have to report fertilizer use. And so this is going to be a big change, and this change is going to continue over the next few years. And so what's happening as a result, there's now, you've heard about the pest control advisors, the PCAs, now there's the crop consultants, the CCAs. And they're going to be working very closely with growers, trying to bring agronomic knowledge to the growers to help manage their nutrients on their farm. And in particular, something like nitrogen. And this is something that is very, very important, because the nitrate, which is a form of nitrogen, there's actually limits on the drinking water. You can only have so much in the drinking water. And this whole valley, basically all the drinking water comes from wells, and the nitrate tends to move down with the water. We didn't get much rain this year, but in a good rainy year, it'll tend to move down to the groundwater. So we have to be more efficient with the use of nitrate to try and minimize contamination of drinking water. So those are just a couple of little things that I'll just throw out about the future. One thing I just will mention, in case you don't know, the University of California. I work with the University of California Cooperative Extension, and that is we're actually 100 years old this year, we've been in this valley for many, many years, and we work very closely with the growers. We have a relationship with the growers, and we conduct a lot of on-farm research, and so we work in trying to have a good relationship so the growers feel comfortable having us on their farms. We work with them. We have grower meetings, these blogs, We have YouTubes. We have all kinds of things to get information out to growers. And then we do the old-fashioned farm calls as well, one-on-one. And I think I recognize some of you folks from the weed contest, and congratulations, by the way, you guys. Yes, I heard that. Congratulations. But yeah, if you ever are interested, if you have like a plant, you're not sure what the problem is with it, you can bring it to our office. And we have a plant pathologist, an entomologist, we have a water resource advisor, myself, do general vegetable culture and weed science and viticulture. And so all of these sorts of things, we can help you out. We're there for the public as well as for the farming community.
Very good. Thank you. So our third panelist is new to the area. She's an import.
I'm an import.
Right. Dr. Susan Pheasant is the new director of the Agriculture, Business, and Technology Institute at Hartnell College. As Steve mentioned earlier, Hartnell has been incredibly successful over the past almost decade now, I guess, that's been building. And the ag community has been incredibly supportive of Hartnell to make that happen. And it's a real boon for the area. She began her position just 1 month ago, and she says she's excited to have made the move from the apple capital of the world in Wenatchee, Washington, to the salad bowl of the world here in Salinas. Her undergraduate and doctoral work took place at Washington State University, and her master's at Cal Poly San Luis Obispo, just down the road a piece. She's operated her own agricultural consulting business since 1999. As director of Hartnell's Ag Institute, her efforts are focused on building community partnerships, developing contract education, and supporting the Institute's current programs in ag production, ag business, welding. You weld?
I have.
You have?
I have.
Good. Diesel fabrication and food safety, as well as new coursework in the areas of sustainable crop management and horticultural technician. Please welcome Dr. Susan Pheasant.
Boys are not the only ones that can be in the shop. Brad started off with a quote, and I'd like to contribute to that. One of my favorites is with Thomas Jefferson, just paraphrasing a little bit, and that the only input that doesn't have diminishing returns is knowledge. And you're here and you're building your knowledge, and that has continuing returns. Some will be immediate, some will be down the road, but you're making that investment today. I wanted to speak a little bit about Hartnell's programs. Some of you are very familiar with them. Some of you have never been to campus. I invite you to come. More than happy to give you a tour or come participate in a class or a program or something that way. The diesel technology program, Valentin Rodriguez is the instructor for that. He runs an incredible program. All of the students are placed. There's a high demand for the program. In fact, we have to turn away people at this point. And so we were really excited yesterday during our Ag Steering Committee meeting. It was announced that an additional diesel instructor is the #1 position to be hired next at Hartnell. So we're really excited about that. He works on diagnostics, on repair, on maintenance of diesel equipment and trucks, and we'll also be expanding that out to hybrid vehicles. One of the other programs is the welding. We have probably one of the finest welding facilities of all the junior colleges in California right now. There's a new instructor. He's in his second semester. He comes from industry. He has an armload of certificates and inspection credentials that he is just dying to share with students and with industry and be able to help individuals make their dreams come true in that area. Another area is fabrication, and Al Graham is the instructor for that. And he is dedicated to helping the students design it, build it, maintain it, and then, as we were hearing this morning, having that recreation and that innovation happen. And so providing basic skills in electricity and welding and shop, he's just really excited about being able to do that. Ag production and ag business programs. Probably the areas that would be most of interest to you are two pathways of coursework that are happening. One is in sustainable agriculture, and so that is focusing specifically on PCAs and PACs? Sorry, it's CCAs. The letters are just flipped from Washington, and I don't get it right every time. So that can be individual classes. It can be a track towards a certificate program. It can be combined with other classes and work towards an associate of science degree. So whatever need you have, we're happy to work with you on that. There's also a new horticulture technician program within the Ag Production Series, and that is focused specifically on the greenhouse industry and providing that middle level of workers and the training needed for that. So it'll include irrigation, it'll include production classes, and some management and leadership classes in there. We also have a new class that has just been approved last week in irrigation management. So looking at what types of irrigation systems, when to use them, when are they going to be most effective, where to put them, when the plants are going to be able to utilize the water best, and tap into all of that technology. And also looking at the food safety aspects of different irrigation systems and different timings, and being able to do risk management assessments for that. The area that I'm is dearest to my heart is the food safety. And at this moment, it's a certificate program. There are 6 classes involved in it. It takes about I believe, a 9-month period to complete all of those classes. It provides a good general introduction to food safety. One of my goals is to build that program, increase the level of science-based knowledge that's presented in the program, and we'll be doing that through individual classes, through workshops, individual trainings. We've had businesses come and talk to us about providing contract education, so specific food safety education for workers, whether it's in the field, if it's in the greenhouse, in the packing and processing facilities. So we're happy to work with you on that. I think that's it for now. You're going to have some questions for us, right?
And they're going to have some questions for you.
I expect good questions. Good.
Okay. Good, thank you very much.